Please comment, like,
share, and subscribe.
follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Spicy, tasty vegan cuisine. Yeah.
They are carrying a very broad project in terms of nutrition and changing the mindset in relationships among intimacy and even within the family, wherein there can be much more coordination for a much more happier lifespan. And they have written books on this because they are vegetarians, and they are quite very much far and different from a lot of people that are in this part of the world. So I go straight to Doctor again, Mr. Pui. You will come in a short while. Doctor, Mama just mentioned that because of the difference labs in between the man and the woman, because according to you, the male are like slower in a lot of ways. So she decided to bring up the kids in wherein, that is the boys, wherein they will become much more better, that is in actively, proactively, than the girls. Are you saying the women are much more active than the boys naturally? And then from there, you can also have the opportunity to change the formation of the activities of boys if you want to, for them to also keep up with the pace of the girls. We are waiting to hear this.
Well, there is differences. I've given you some of the differences. There are many more. But in terms of the boys or men waiting to catch up, it doesn't happen. It takes the average man about 50 years before they begin to mature.
What?
I'll say it again. It takes the average man about 50 years
Wow.
before they begin to mature. Now, before we came to Africa, we understood that it was an African saying that you start at 40. That's when you begin.
Yeah.
Well, 50 years, give or take. And this is the average man. So for those of you sitting at the edge of your seat, I'm talking about the average man. And usually by the time they're 50, they've created problems for themselves socially and physically. Physically, because they generally aren't eating the right kind of food. Socially, because they haven't matured. They've created challenges in their life. Usually because they have not listened to someone, usually a woman, to do or not to do a certain thing. Now, when I talk about slow, I'm just talking basically, it's an attitude that I characterize as just being unaware, unconscious, and disconnected from the appreciation of the perspectives of others. In other words, you're kind of self-centered, and some men are so slow they don't even know they're slow. And some men, God bless them, are so arrogant that they believe that a woman cannot tell them anything. And this has been reinforced by their culture, by their peer group, by their, it could be tribes, it could be, this information has just been passed on. Now, before we got to this point, and we had a matriarchal society. In other words, women were basically running things and controlling things in terms of protecting and providing and sheltering and working with. We didn't have the challenges we have. But out of the West, you had the patriarchal society, where the men were the ones that were in so-called control. And this has created a conflict. It's created a challenge because our information as Africans, people of diaspora, this information was cut off from us when we were colonized and when the invaders came in. It was not in their best interest to let us have this information. And after generation, this information has been kind of encoded in us, became part of our culture, put in some of our religions, and then now we are at a state and point where we have to stop and question. And that is, if something no longer serves our highest good or our purpose, building our families, building our community, and our nations, perhaps we should step back and only work with those things that work best and let go of those things that no longer serve our best interests.
You know, Doctor, I'm sorry, Mr. Pui, you're going to have something there very soon. But the issue, what I want to ask Doctor here, you are precisely in a nation, fortunately, in a nation wherein the look at the women that these are supposed to be the muted angle. They should be by the back, and it's changing now gradually, all right? But like, you know, this is basically the basic understanding that the women, all right, must serve, you know, be there just for their husband, the kids, the home, and all that. And that's where it stops. And most men do not believe that they can seek opinions from their women. Yes.
Yes. Well.
So I don't know, how are you going to really convert this into our understanding, because there's two different gaps here.
If I may come here just to give them the light of what is prevailing here.
Exactly.
Doctor have said it all. Africa, we have been with our own culture and tradition and moving fine before the coming of the invaders. When they came, this is why Africa we have a problem, right? The tradition is there, the religion is there. The Quranic religion, the Christian religion, right? When they came, they mixed up almost everything. Now, if you look at the Quran, even when you are praying, right, the men must be in front. The women must be at the back.
Exactly.
But in the history of the development of the religion, the women have been at the forefront.
What?
Right.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yes.
Have been in the forefront. Do you know why? Because even the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Muhammad, the wife Khadija, was a wealthy lady who was the one who sponsored the jihad that they were doing. So now what the role of women is number one there. But fanaticism in our society and arrogancy also dictates whereby women are being neglected. But this is not
So
our
true.
culture. This is just what I wanted to buttress.
That's perfect, Mr. Pui.
And a woman cannot rise, a country cannot rise unless that woman is in a positive, in a strong position to rule the household, because she's the one who primarily raises the children.
Agree?
And so therefore, why should the man have all that type of power when he didn't bring the child in the world? So his difference is quite, skewed on some level. So there's a lot of changes that needs to occur, and it will in time.
Yes, I agree with my wife. By having programs such as this and getting the information out, then we will be able to change. It doesn't happen overnight.
No, of course.
It didn't happen overnight.
No.
The colonizers
No.
and the invaders put us in this state to where we are not only confused as to what our roles really should be, but also very arrogant and deliberate in putting down our counterparts.
Mr. Pui, you also said it all. You getting me? Taking us back to like how it was supposed to be, because like from the Christianity side we can understand, but like from the Muslim side we actually, it is difficult, because like you see it like this is a trend that has been there, is a system generated, and like now it has been so immune. It is very hard to change. Let me say this, Doctor. I deliberately decided to take it step by step, because what you're saying now, it has to actually sink down for people to understand. If we say we are just going to just say blah 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 quick fast, and we pass it on, and the understanding is not going to be there. That's why I said put these things into series, okay? So that each topic can be elaborated on very much to the understanding. Because you are in a platform, in a society, or you're talking most of West Africa, and in fact the region here, is what the mentality is. You're not even talking of those Gambia here, you're talking Senegal, Mali, all these places, Guinea, Conakry. It is the same thing.
Yes.
And as long as it is coming from like the Muslim side, the Christians can manage a little bit, but they still have that on their head. Also that the man is the one that should have the final say. All right? Yes. So Mr. Pui, in terms of the Mama, please, sorry. You know, I want to ask Mr. Pui. You know, what normally are trying to like, you know, sinking into people is a very strange thing because, like you were just saying, fanatics and arrogance and this, many men will not accept. So, how do you think this kind of information can be able to be passed on to the men to like accept that this is true and that kind of thing? Because I'm coming very soon to the nutrition. I want us to touch on nutrition also to see the balance that is going to be there.
Well, I think first we should do as we're doing now,
Exactly.
to present the information. Going to live as long, and the quality of their life is not going to be as good as it could if they embrace their counterpart. And when I say that, accept them with all of their gifts, with all of their strengths, and get a balance in terms of what you have. Men bring something to the table too. We can be the protector. We can be the person who encourages them.
Yes.
We can be the person who supports them. And we also can be the person that jumps in and assists them, whether it's carrying the water, whether it's doing the cooking, whether any responsibility, let it be shared.
Let it be shared.
100%.
Mr. Pui,
Yeah, no,
let it be shared.
yeah, let it be shared.
You know that, no wait, you heard what Dr. just said now?
Very well. Very well.
That okay, does this go for one wife or all the multiple wives? I'm sorry, they just tend to like put things together here.
No, that is a different dimension, because in most cases, this is why men who normally have different wives, this is why sometimes they have problem. In most cases, they choose one on top of the other, favored one on top of the other. But in different cases, there are men that normally come together with them, because he has already said it well. This is why when we are bringing up children, we would like the children, both the girl and the boy, to learn all the domestic work at home. It happens. In fact, sometimes if you tell the boy to come and sweep after eating, they will start saying, no, it's the work of the girl.
Because of the father.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when they say that for cooking, they will say it's the work of the girl.
Yes.
Right? But there are some families, right?
Yes.
Who, if it including myself, both the boy and the girl does the domestic job.
That's right.
So that tomorrow, if you are not at your home,
That's right.
then you'll be able to do these activities. And at the same time, when you are sharing these activities, then it will learn. You have to learn how to share responsibilities, especially social duties. Right? If the man can, if the man can bring food to the table, right? Then the woman goes to the kitchen.
Yes.
Then the youngsters clean the bowls, sweep the house, and then do other domestic activities. At the same time, what that is showing is sharing of responsibilities. But there are some certain areas they are adamant that boys' jobs are distinct and girls' jobs are distinct. There is where the confusion lies.
This is where my point is. Because if doctor is talking about coordination here, working as a team, coming together, sharing responsibility, and there is not that understanding and differences of job allocation is not practically spelled out, like that, then there's a problem. It means there's conflict in the home. So because you are talking of culture here, you are talking of religion here, doctor, and this is an immunity already in most of the African setting countries, wherein the men will never, because they are brought up from kids, they are made to understand that they should be on top. That they should not even assist the wife. Some men will sit down there, if the baby is crying, we say, go and look after the baby. After that, the woman will be cooking, and we say, come and look after the baby. You will never touch the baby. Or rather, but the woman will be in the kitchen and we say, the baby is crying, go there and look at the baby and everything. All the responsibilities are on them. I am just trying to know, because we are on series on these things. How is this going to be possible to break this edge?
Well, I think it's been a lot of, this is old culture. I think a long time ago that there were lots of wars, and therefore a lot of the men were killed. That's why one man can marry 2 or 3 wives, just to make sure that the children were all together, and the women would just remain with that one man. And that was good because that was necessary. But now times have changed. Wars are going to soon diminish. So therefore, we have an opportunity to probably, they tell us that it's more women than men, but I'm understanding that's not true. They're pretty much can be equal. It's just that you first have to learn how to deal with one before you can deal with three. And if you have 2 or 3 wives, we need to come together and to be able to communicate and then work together if that's what can be done. Because I know I practice Islam in America, and I had several lady friends that were second wives. And because they were educated, because education does make a difference, they knew how to work it. One woman had a house in one area, and the husband spent 2 weeks there, and then the other wife, the husband would come on the other side and spend 2 weeks there. That's, to me, that was a more sophisticated way of doing it. Whereas some of us are still living the old way. And so it's going to take time for it to work out the way it's more balanced.
And historically, we have to step back and look at things. Prior to us being given things like religion, I don't think we had the challenges like that. And the people who gave us, the nations who gave us these religions, they don't have them. They're atheists. And economically, they're on top.
Yes.
It's almost like I give you religion, you close your eyes, say a prayer, and we take your land and your resources.
Exactly.
So the things that used to serve us, those we hold on to. Whether it's in a religion, whether it's in an organization, whatever. There are things, just like when we are come from the womb, and we are taught from the time we're born until we're about 7. And we take in all of this information for our survival, whether it's from the schools, from the television, from our family, from our community. All of this we take inside of us. And this becomes part of who and what we are. And when we are presented with something, we react instead of responding.
Yes.
So what we've got to do is to learn to make a different model of ourselves. It's not to push aside what we have been taught, because some of those things were very important at the time for our survival. But when they no longer serve you, then that is when you release or replace them with something that does.
So how is this combined with the nutritional part?
Okay, so the next level.
Yes. Before I say that, let me read the numbers again. The numbers to call is 7480480. 7480480. This is SENN FM 90.5, and this is the voice of ECOWAS. Listeners, it's a reminder again, this is the test phase of this program because the time has been changed from 12 noon Thursdays to Wednesdays 5 to 6 in the evening.
Please comment, like,
share, and subscribe.
follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Spicy, tasty vegan cuisine. Yeah.